Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including why you may want to wait for Tesla's next battery, Tesla's warnings about BYD, Tesla dominating popular markets, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, Tesla has hit a huge sales milestone in California that could be a pretty big sign of the future to come. In 2023, 1 of every 8 cars sold in California was a Tesla, and electric cars made up 21.4% of all new car sales. The Model 3 and Y are the 2 best-selling vehicles in their respective classes as well. The Model 3 sold 82,786 units, a 61% lead over the previous California passenger car bestseller, the Toyota Camry. The Model Y is the best-selling vehicle overall, having shipped 132,636 units. That is more than twice the next best-selling SUV, the Toyota RAV4. While Tesla's individual models have outsold others, as a brand, Toyota still has them beat. The Japanese automaker had a 15.7% market share for the year, followed by Tesla with 13% and Honda with 9.7%. Interestingly, both of those other automakers have been very slow to introduce EV options to the US market. Still, while Tesla's sales have grown by 24.6% in the last year, the increasing availability of competing electric vehicles has had an impact on them. Tesla's overall share of the BEV market dropped from 71% to 60.5% as a result of greater availability of Tesla alternatives. This is reflected in the growth of EV sales coming from franchised car dealerships. Tesla offers a direct-to-consumer sales model that few other automakers have adopted. Still, a single automaker, especially one that has only been selling cars for 15 years, managing to capture this much of a huge market like California is a gigantic milestone. As the state and country at large continue down the path of electrification, we'll probably start to see similar statistics coming out of other places outside of California. I'm curious to see how these numbers will change once Tesla releases their upcoming affordable EV as well. With a hopeful $25,000 price tag and eligibility for a full $7,500 tax credit, that could put that car nearly $10,000 cheaper than the old California bestseller, the Toyota Camry. With prices like these, purchasing an EV starts looking less like just an interesting option for many consumers and more like a product that is impossible to ignore. Next up today, the biggest question when it comes to Tesla is when to buy one. They don't refresh their cars on any sort of normal basis like other companies do. In fact, they change stuff throughout the year whenever it makes sense for them to do so on the assembly line. Overall, though, the big changes only come every few years. The entirely new Model 3 is about to ship in the US, so for many, this raises the question as to when the new Model Y will come out. The Model Y was designed off of the Model 3, so at some point, Tesla is going to upgrade that car to match the current Model 3 with rear display, better cabin isolation, nice materials, and much more. The other side of this, though, is tax credits. For many, the tax credit is a big factor when buying an EV, and this year, for eligible cars, it is available at the point of sale, meaning you can get up to $7,500 off the price of a Model Y at checkout if you qualify for the credit. All Model Y trims currently qualify, but if you decide that that car is a bit too large for you, the Model 3 does not qualify for anything. This creates a very odd situation where someone who qualifies could buy a rear-wheel drive Model Y for $36,490 or a rear-wheel drive Model 3 for $38,990. It's cheaper to get a Model Y. For long range, it's the same story, $41,490 for a long-range Model Y or $45,990 for a long-range Model 3. The reason the Model 3 doesn't qualify here, and this situation is as odd as it is, has to do with battery sourcing. Rules got stricter this year, and Tesla's Model 3 batteries no longer meet the requirements of the bill, among many other EVs. Essentially, the only way to make it qualify is to source batteries more locally, but this process takes time. We've seen Tesla shift things around in the past to help cars qualify, but as they continue scaling, they're going to need to scale up qualifying batteries. Recently, we've heard about Tesla diving in on the true expansion of their main battery factory, Giga Nevada. About a year ago, they announced $3.6 billion in new investment at that factory, scaling up 4680 production as well as semi-production. In January of this year, we saw Tesla moving forward with initial construction, or earth moving, to start this expansion. That's exciting on its own, but now a new report says that Tesla is going to build a new LFP battery cell factory with CATL machines in Nevada. Quote, the automaker plans to buy machinery from CATL, as the battery maker is known, and install it in the city of Sparks, said the people who asked not to be identified. Tesla will have full control of the facility and cover 100% of the costs, and CATL personnel will be uninvolved other than helping to set up the equipment, they said. Reportedly, this will be a small facility, and it will be used initially to make LFP cells for Tesla Megapacks, but various reports give different details on that. Right there, that could rule out this helping with the Model 3 qualifying for tax credits, but Tesla is very well known to shift things around as they make sense. They say they don't want tax credits, but of course if their cars qualify, they will make them so and allow customers to take that tax credit. The same happens with batteries. If 4680 cells take longer to scale than expected, of course they will change plans, and we've seen them shift things over the years. I think that here it's quite likely this process goes very well, and they find that scaling up LFP battery cell production with CATL equipment is extremely efficient in Nevada. Whatever Tesla can scale effectively, they will continue doing. China currently makes the most LFP batteries between BYD and CATL, and they each supply Tesla. Even with 4680 cells expanding at Giga Texas, LFP isn't expected anytime soon, even though this chemistry is great and more affordable. Elon Musk has even talked about Tesla focusing on these cells in the future. In a very short amount of time, this could allow Tesla to expand beyond megapacks and make LFP cells for the Model 3 to once again help it qualify. As long as they can source the minerals and materials to qualify, then this could solve that issue for them, allowing the Model 3 to be purchased for as low as $31,490 for many customers. Further into the future as well, they may find this useful for their next-gen vehicle, but time will tell what approach they will be taking there. The Cybertruck is the true 4680 experiment, and they will see what is most effective. They always want to be at the forefront of new technology, but the key is that they want it to be scalable in the real world soon. Hopefully this is the initial step to make the Model 3 qualify for the tax credit once again. If you're not in a rush at all and the tax credit is very important to you, then this could be worth the wait, but battery scaling does take a lot of time. I'd imagine it could be more likely that Tesla figures out another way to make the Model 3 qualify even before they make US LFP battery cells, but time will tell. Next up today, Tesla has just announced a huge new investment into their Dojo supercomputer system. They will be building a new $500 million supercomputer cluster at their factory in Buffalo, New York. Dojo is the groundbreaking supercomputer that Tesla completely designed from scratch to help train their AI products. Dojo has had some pretty big setbacks since it was first announced. The project has faced a number of delays, but Tesla was able to open their first Dojo cluster last year. In recent months, some of the program's leadership has been let go from the project, raising concerns about how well it's actually going behind the scenes. During their latest earnings call, Elon Musk made a comment that certainly puts the whole project into a bit of perspective. He said, "I would think of Dojo as a long shot. It's a long shot worth taking because the payoff is potentially very high, but it's not something that is a high probability." Given how much this project was anticipated to significantly boost Tesla's AI output, that is definitely a bit disappointing to hear. However, it is definitely reasonable that when working on a technology as groundbreaking and cutting edge as their AI products, you may want to temper people's expectations a bit, especially when you're Elon with a history of doing the opposite. Instead, Tesla is working on approaching their supercomputer goals from multiple angles. While they boasted that their Dojo chips would be able to outperform other competitors, they're still investing heavily in chips from those companies. Tesla is spending heavily on NVIDIA AI processors to continue building their traditional supercomputer clusters, and will also be adding AMD chips to their hardware. Elon added that, quote, "The table stakes for being competitive in AI are at least several $billion per year at this point." While Tesla is spending a lot on their Dojo project in order to remain at the forefront of the AI industry, they recognize the need to spend in more than just one area. I hope that Dojo is able to deliver on Tesla's goals, because it would be such a major help to their AI-powered projects like FSD and Optimus. Regardless, between their investments in third-party and proprietary tech, Tesla is working very hard to keep their lead in AI technology. Next up today, Chinese automakers like BYD are making huge splashes across the globe, and their success has left Tesla a little scared, or at least realistic for the future. Last year in Q4 was the first time that Tesla fell from the leading spot in global EV sales, with BYD now in first place. The Chinese automaker has made huge gains in both China and Europe, expecting to open a new factory in Hungary very soon. Along with other new automakers, BYD is massively expanding their worldwide presence by offering cheap electric cars that other companies are struggling to keep up with. Tesla and other automakers have been cutting prices in Europe and China to stay competitive in those markets. Elon Musk told analysts that the automakers out of China are the most competitive car companies in the world, and that he expects them to do very well across the world. As a result of their huge and sudden growth, the EU has considered raising tariffs on Chinese EVs to protect local production. On the topic, Elon said, quote, "Frankly, I think if there are not trade barriers established, they will pretty much demolish most other car companies in the world." I would imagine in a sense he still sees Tesla as a survivor here, as they've been competing directly in China, and he sees their next car as revolutionary in multiple aspects. But for other automakers, it could be a very big deal. Tesla is at the top of EV manufacturing, and to be so blunt about the risks posed by BYD and others is very telling about their rising structure in the market. BYD has been having great success with their lineup of affordable EVs that so far other automakers have been unable to compete with. Tesla is currently working on their next-gen affordable EV, but we don't have official word on when that car will be coming. As it stands right now, BYD's cheapest vehicle, the Seagull, is available out of China for about $11,400, a price that is almost unfathomable to beat even for the specs it delivers. For 2023, Tesla originally projected a 50% growth rate that they fell short of by 12%. A 38% increase in car deliveries is still very impressive, but the growth in other companies are definitely eating into Tesla's potential sales. If Chinese automakers continue their current level of growth and don't face increased trade barriers, they really could take the EV world by storm. They already face some pretty substantial tariffs in the US that have prevented them from getting a foothold here, but if they were to change, it would immediately create some nearly unbeatable opponents for US automakers. Since BYD is currently working on their European factory, it could be difficult for the EU to implement any major trade restrictions on that company. If Tesla wants to remain competitive, price cuts likely won't be enough long term. They're going to need to introduce this $25,000 EV to be a true affordable alternative to the cheaper Chinese cars, and ultimately, I'm excited to see that happen. Competition is great for consumers, and while we are slowly beginning to see automakers in the US take on Tesla, the real competition is coming from China. With Tesla being a global company, that means we see the effects here as well. Part of me wonders if the new Model 3 would have even seen a refresh in the US if it weren't necessary for the Chinese market, where they designed it and introduced it first. We'll see how this all develops, but Elon tends to have a decent hold on what the future looks like in this space. Last up today, some updates from other automakers. Rivian has been teasing their long-awaited R2 SUV for some time now, and we may finally get word on when that vehicle is being introduced. Rivian is a luxury EV maker that currently has two vehicles on the market, the R1T pickup truck and R1S 3-row SUV. The company makes great vehicles that are among the best Tesla competitors out there, but so far they have struggled to reach profitability. Following the Tesla business model, they proved their viability with their more expensive models and are now branching out into more affordable options. That's where the R2 comes in. It is Rivian's next-gen electric SUV that is currently speculated to cost around $40,000 to start. That will put it in line to compete directly with the Model Y, especially if they meet the requirements for the full $7,500 tax credit, which they say this car is being designed to meet. So far, we've only seen hints of this truck, but now some leaked documents suggest that it will be coming very soon. Rivian submitted a request to the Laguna Beach City Council to use some public space for the R2 launch event in March. On top of that, in a recent Rivian patent application, it looks like we got our first sketch of that car. It looks like the exact shape we expect, a smaller version of the R1S, and the headlights have a similar Rivian feel but are noticeably smaller. If this car can deliver Rivian's great EV experience but in a more affordable form factor, that could be a huge game changer for the industry. For Rivian, hopefully an inexpensive mass market car is what is able to push them into profitability. I can't wait to find out more details about the R2 as we learn more and to see what happens at this event in March. Acura, the luxury subdivision of Honda, has just revealed the prices of their upcoming ZD4X, the brand's first fully electric vehicle in the US. Coming later this spring, the base trim of the ZD4X will start at $64,500. This electric SUV is powered by GM's Ultium platform, which is also the basis for this car's luxury competitor, the Cadillac Lyriq. When they first announced this vehicle, Acura estimated it would start around $60,000, so while its starting price is a bit higher, it does offer plenty of luxury features. This car will feature a unique Google operating system, a Bang & Olufsen audio system, as well as Apple CarPlay and Android Auto coming standard. The dual motor performance upgrade will start at $73,500 and will output 500 horsepower, have adjustable air suspension, performance-tuned dampers, and multiple driving modes for maximum performance. The vehicle will also feature 3 distinct charging packages depending on your needs. They will offer different packages of home and mobile chargers, as well as installation credits and EVgo charge credits. It features 190 kilowatt DC fast charging that can add 81 miles in 10 minutes via CCS, although the car will also come with a complimentary NACS adapter. It is currently expected to have a range up to 325 miles EPA. Acura and its parent company Honda have been very slow to the EV game, so I'm interested to see how well this car performs when it arrives later this year. Over at Porsche, they have finally fully unveiled their all-electric Macan SUV, and it's pretty impressive. This base trim will have a max range up to 381 miles of WLTP range and can output over 400 horsepower. The turbo trim will get up to 630 horsepower and can go 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds. In exchange for that performance, the range will reduce slightly down to 367 miles, but again, keep in mind that's WLTP range. The base trim will top out at 136 miles per hour, while the turbo will reach 161 miles per hour. This new SUV will be the first vehicle to debut on the 800-volt PPE platform that they co-developed with Audi. It will support fast charging up to 270 kilowatts, which will charge its 100 kilowatt-hour battery from 10 to 80% in 21 minutes. The interior is designed for driver comfort with 3 available screens, including an instrument cluster and an additional heads-up display. In addition to its style and performance, it also features a roomy cargo area and a towing capacity up to 4,000 pounds. All of those features round this vehicle out to be a very capable and versatile sport SUV. The base trim will start at $78,800, while the turbo will bump it up to $105,300. Essentially, at this pricing, it's competing with the Model X. This car offers the same quality traditionally offered by the Porsche brand, and fans will surely love the continued quality offered by a legacy automaker. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see the latest for Tesla hacks and a tri-motor Model 3, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.